I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't want the end result of what this has to deliver. The only thing that has held anyone back is the belief in themselves.
Welcome to Shift, an exclusive podcast by DSN. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and this is where high-performing entrepreneurs and experts share their most powerful shifts in mindset, skill set, and strategy to help you accelerate your business and amplify your impact. I challenge you to be present, open your mind, and let the shift begin. Welcome to Shift. I'm your host, Blake Mallen. I am absolutely thrilled to have an incredibly inspiring couple with us on the show today. Gina, a former flight attendant, and Steve, a professional athlete for 25 years. He was actually the world champion in barefoot water skiing. I can't wait to hear that story. They've built a global organization together, fueled by their leadership, their dedication, and their genuine care and passion for others. Over 36 years of experience in direct selling, and their most recent journey, and I'm so excited to get to spotlight this today, is nothing short of remarkable. In just 2 years, after joining a company that was 20 years old, they've grown their team, starting with the two of them, to now over 250,000 strong, making them the fastest growing team in their company today. They have helped an absolutely inspiring number of people reach their highest rank in the program and were a pivotal role in driving their company growth. Hear me on this, over 500% since they joined. That is astonishing. They are passionate about providing better health and financial freedom to as many people as possible, family and friends being at the top of their priority list. And they truly believe that everyone has a dream to fulfill, and that it's their mission to help others make that dream a reality. What sets them apart, I love how they put it. They say, we laugh more, we work harder, we love better, we duplicate faster, and we have so much more fun. And I think we're going to get some of that energy in our conversation today. Their vision to change the perception of network marketing around the world. Today, we get to dive into their incredible journey, the lessons they've learned, the shifts they made along the way as they're building a lasting legacy of impact. With that, guys, please help me welcome to the show none other than Gina and Steve Merritt. Gina and Steve, how are you guys doing today?
Excellent. Thank you for having us on, and we are excited to be a part. Shift, I love that word. It's a good thing to do. Shift whatever you're doing.
It's kind of fitting with where we're at in the world.
It is so good. Now. Yes, I love it.
Blake, we're excited to be here with you.
Well, I love it. Well, I'm so excited. Thank you guys, first and foremost, for the time and the energy. I know we're catching you in the middle of world travels and company retreats and giant conventions. And I know the whole DSN team has just been inspired by your story through your whole career, but obviously what you're doing in the last few years in the now. So can't wait to spotlight that for everybody. So before we get into all of that, let's kind of rewind the moment where you first got introduced to this crazy world of direct selling. What was life before? What kind of put you into this world? And then maybe take us to another moment, wherever that was in your journey, where like you knew this was going to be a lifelong career for both of you. And whoever wants to start. Gina, why don't you go first?
Okay, so I was a flight attendant for 25 years, and man, I love my job. But probably the hardest thing for me was with having 4 kids. They're now 36 to 28, 3 girls and a boy. We actually homeschooled all of our kids, and I would always think to myself, there has to be a better way. Yeah. And when I actually got my 50% pay cut at work one day, I walked in and whoop, I had to wear the same uniform, have the same smile, the same great attitude. And I thought there has to be a better way out of here. And we got introduced to this industry. And I'm telling you, we just completely shifted what we were doing, just like your word. And it has been the funnest, incredible journey we've had. We have changed so many families' lives.
And as a pro athlete, everybody wanted to be me. And I was like sitting in my ski boat, because I skied on the U.S. ski team for 10 years. And Gina and I both together had this humongous training center where people flew in from around the world for years. But I would sit in that boat and say, man, I don't know if I want to do this forever. And one day, a gentleman that I rented this huge marina, looked up to him, said to me, man, you and Gina would be amazing at this business that my wife and I just got started. And he left the curiosity approach, wouldn't share with me until me and her were together because she's flying. We're kind of meeting through the airports, this and that. One evening we met. And I always used to say, like you mentioned, barefoot skiing. I have a line of equipment. People came to train with me for barefoot skiing, but I always would say, hey, I need something that everybody else needs. Not everybody wants to learn how to barefoot ski. So I'd always be saying this if I'm going to look into something. He drew out the plan at a restaurant, and my eyes were open, lit up right at that moment. And that's where it all began. But that little short curiosity approach meeting, drawing that plan out, and we saw what this thing could literally give us, and we really never forgot that from the time we saw it.
Absolutely.
Well, I know for 36 years, I'm sure, because you can't be around and in this path for that amount of time without having highs, without having lows, without going through all the seasons and all the lessons. So I have so many questions, and I can't wait to kind of extract and share that with our audience today. But first, Steve, I have to ask, this is just purely for my own curiosity, world champion. Like that's not a little thing. Like, what did it feel? I just want to know, take us real quick. What did it feel like the moment, wherever you were, right, whenever it was, when you became the world champion of the sport you worked so hard? What did that feel like? Take us to that moment. I'm just curious.
Well, it was actually in Melbourne, Australia, on the Yarra River.
Okay.
So what happens is that when you win that, you got so many different people competing from around the world, but standing up on the podium, having the gold medal, you feel incredible, and you just you got to go back to that moment. That's why I teach people too. Whatever you've won at, I don't even care if it's like a little gymnastic meet or whatever. Go back to that feeling like I had on the podium that you really accomplished the dream that you had. Because I started that dream like when I was 14, 15 years old, and I didn't accomplish it till I was in my mid-20s when I accomplished about being a world champion. So all those years, even after it wasn't even until I got married that I accomplished that dream. So that was pretty unique, incredible feeling, and it's actually helped me through my entire career, especially in this industry, because you want to help other people win and all that. Everything that you had to go through, the ups and downs, like you said, the same thing that happens in sport happens in business. And if you bring that with you and always have, like Gina's talking, a positive attitude and use every challenge as a reason to grow instead of just being down and out about something you're going through, because you know what? God's just putting that on your plate for you to learn, to grow, and help somebody else when they're going through the same type of challenge. But it felt incredible, Blake.
And if you understand his career, one trick, he had 1,000 falls.
Wow.
So like some people in this industry, they make 10 calls and they like get shy or they get tired or they get frustrated. I'm like, 1,000 falls.
Yeah. I added them up. 1,000 falls to learn one.
Is that amazing?
One of my tricks.
Steve, what's the trick? I got you. What's the trick? What is the trick?
When you're on your bare feet at 45 miles and on the water, the hardest first trick to learn is to go from forward to backward.
Okay.
The falls will rip you up because it's like whiplash falls. And I've had 14 surgeries since I became a world champion because of those falls. But it's incredible that, you go forward, you go backward, then you stick the toe strap in your foot. You go from forward to backward on your one foot. Some of the starts, you start backwards off a dock with no hands. You put that strap like a bear claw into your foot and you let it rip you off the dock backwards, screaming at like 37 miles an hour. Then you slam one foot in and you come out with no hands. Those are the kind of tricks. Front flips on the water. And it's the exhilaration and the feeling is incredible, especially once you put everything together. But it took some time and some effort to learn all those tricks. But once you learn it and you accomplish it and you know what you're doing, that's what I would coach my students, and they would learn more in 5 days at my training center than they would in 5 years on their own. That is why I'm so adamant about big events, because I feel the same way. When people come to events, they're going to learn so much more. Could save them 10 years of effort by just coming to an event. So if they invest in themselves, the same reason these students invested their time and their money to come to my training center, I delivered. And we do the same thing in our events. We deliver to the people so that they can win and be at a level that they really have that confidence. Because knowledge is power. When you have the knowledge of what to do, not only how great the product might be, but to know exactly how to win and succeed, you got so much more confidence when you're talking to somebody, and people see that in your eyes.
That lesson of, are you willing to go through 1,000 falls to master the one thing that might separate you from everyone else? You know, is there anything else that you guys have adapted, this kind of world champion mentality, right? And all the lessons and parallels. What else do you see looking at that season of life and now applying it to this season of life? Or are things that you try to emulate yourselves and try to teach within your culture? Anything else you would highlight on that type of attitude?
Yeah, as a flight attendant, you know, I'm more outgoing. And I love people, and, you know, I'm in front of people, and I can talk in the microphone, and I can, you know, squat down and look in the family's eyes and say, hey, can I take little Mikey and have me pick up the trash on the airplane? Like, you know, you just learn different things. And I would tell Steve, if you really act like you're having the best time, even though you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's hot out here, you know, I want to go in, I want to see my kids, whatever it is. I said, if you act like you're having the best time in the world, you're going to be like a magnet, and everyone's want to kind of come to your school. Yeah. So we kind of use that same skill set as we're out meeting with people. So he's not very comfortable talking to people. A
stranger, or even somebody on my phone that I'm going to call about the opportunity. You know,
His armpits are sweating.
Yeah, I'm a coach. So I can coach you through how to do this because I've done it now. But when I have to pick up the phone, even to this day, of somebody that I got to call. So I want to let everyone know there's probably somebody listening to the podcast today that has a little bit of being nervous of making that phone call. But I will say that if you put your dream in front of you, what is it that you want? And then you dial the phone, even if your wife's got to dial the phone. I mean, action cures fear. Dial it for him and hand him the phone. Now he's got to talk. And when you talk to them, if you have a bit of a strategy, like we have a strategy we call FORM, family, occupation, recreation, motive. So, well, you have a family. Yes, I got 3 kids. What's your occupation? I work at a Gold's Gym. I'm the manager. That must be a great job. And then you say, and then he says to you, well, I thought it would be, but I never get to see my kids. So already that's opening up the door. So if you're having a little trouble with your starting a conversation, if you got a strategy behind it,
right,
then you can really open up, and you know your goal is. And remember this. When I would go and whether I'm picking up the phone for a friend or whether I'm meeting somebody new, I'm always saying to myself, because my original dream, until Gina was able to be free to come home with the family, because that was her dream, was to be with her 4 kids, or at least have the option, was I knew that I wouldn't be any closer to my dream if I didn't say something or make the call. So that really drives you to make the first move and make it happen.
And I got a gift at not nagging.
Yeah, it is true.
So I'm really good at encouraging, and like, you know, because I knew he's uncomfortable talking. So I would go, oh my gosh, you're such a sharp couple. And I would grab his hand, let's go talk to them, instead of saying, go talk to that couple, or you didn't do this. Like, I never did that.
I see that a lot.
Always encouraging
families.
Him, because he didn't have that gift or didn't feel comfortable talking to people. And I got other ways too. I'm like, hey.
She's got a foolproof way to get.
So I want to dive deeper on your guys' dynamic, because we can see it. It's beautiful, right? And obviously your guys' success, right, is a testament to how you guys come together. And I want to go deeper there in a minute, but I want to back up. So we got your story. You guys were traditional business. You had transferable skills. Maybe people wouldn't have naturally have seen that you have applied. You got started. You've had the ups. You've had the downs. And you had a successful career prior to, right, the last couple years. But here's my question, because I did some homework, and I know you guys are 2 or so years in to your current venture. By the way, I know it's only the 3rd, right, in your 36 years. So a testament to the loyalty and the commitment that you guys have brought to this profession. I want to highlight that, because that's important. In my world, that's like
2 companies in our career, just 2 companies in 36 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to applaud that and the example you set, because that alone says a lot without saying anything else. But, you know, the one that you guys recently aligned with, you know, it was a company that's been around for 20 years. And what it looks like from the outside looking in is like, whoa, you know, what has been happening in the last few years? So here's my question for you specifically. when you two got to this recent starting line, right? It was a new starting line. It was a new beginning. What was different at this starting line for you as people than it was at that first starting line 36 years ago? Like, what lessons were you bringing into this new beginning, right? That like you would have been imparted on you maybe 36 years ago. I'm curious that perspective shift, because it's a new beginning for you guys with a lot of wisdom behind it.
Well, there's 4 things. So first, we in the industry that we are in, we were struggling, really struggling, and we are good. Like, I mean, we can sponsor anyone, we can talk to anyone, we can follow up with anyone. We're not afraid to fly, we're not afraid to travel, we're not afraid to talk to people, we're not afraid to create a system or, just do the extraordinary. And so we prayed for 4 things. We prayed for the right company, the right product, the right ownership, and number 4, God's favor. So we knew that when we got this, we knew that God isn't going to give you something that you can't do.
Yeah.
But you got to know that right here. And then it gets to your heart. And so once we did that, we knew that this was it, where we are going. We knew the shift was going to happen. We knew that the owner, I remember we interviewed him, and I remember saying to him, can you keep up with us? Now, the reason why I said, can you keep up with us? And it wasn't even on our,
Notes.
Like what we were going to ask him, interview him. We were interviewing him. It wasn't even on our notes, but we knew that because we had prayed so big. We prayed literally for 1 year for all those 4 things. And we looked at every company, and we knew that literally when this came to us, we literally had to say, can you keep up with us?
Yeah.
Because we knew it was go time. We were going to create a storm like there's no other thing. And it is absolutely amazing. Absolutely.
Gina, where does that confidence come from, right? So, I mean, you're at the starting line, and for anybody doing something new, right, we can all have a confidence, but it's new, it's unknown. You're at a brand new beginning, right? You have all this experience. Like, where does that come from? Like, what advice did you guys get together and be like, hey, we get a chance to restart. Here's what we're going to do, or here's what this looks like, or here's our do's and don'ts. Like, I'm looking for the advice you guys were bringing in with all that experience to launching something brand new that maybe all our listeners listening that want to, emulate the success can kind of learn from you in that moment.
It had a lot to do with, I believe, how I was raised. My dad, man, he went down for the count 3 times. Boom. Dusted himself off, picked himself up, and boom, just fighting the fight, but winning. So I think with me seeing my parents at such a young age, entrepreneur, having their own business. I remember my dad had a plant nursery. I remember creating boxes in the middle of our living room, and I would stick all the labels on, that were, back then they were hand printed. So my mom was hand printing the labels. My dad was creating the boxes. My sisters and I were putting the labels on. But I mean, it was like a family thing. I saw how they worked, but I saw that the freedom that my dad had being his own boss. Yeah. I learned a lot from that. A lot.
I love that. So family values, remembering where you came from, that fight, that winning. Steve, what about you? Like you in that moment, and all of us, you can have a good track record, but it's still brand new. What were you telling yourself at that start?
My case was the opposite. My parents were the hardest working people, but they worked for somebody else. And I was saying to myself, I am never going to work for somebody else. We had success in our first go around, but they didn't give us, the pay plan wasn't very good. Yeah. But that knowledge that we learned, we went into the second one. We blew up because of the knowledge. So some of you that are learning in a spot, when you get to the right company with the right vehicle, with the right team, you can have incredible success from if you bring over the knowledge that you had and that work ethic. But I was like Gina, we've never been afraid to work hard. We're very good at working smart too. That's one thing that we say. I really like, if anyone's ever looking at this industry, they don't understand it. And I'm not saying you can go to the beach, but one thing I do like about this business opportunity that's nowhere else you can find is you can be ambitiously lazy. So if you can really be ambitious for a season, you can have a little bit of free time. Not that we're not that kind of people, but I like that concept that you don't have to like grind all the time forever and ever, because the minute you stop showing up for many professions, obviously you stop getting paid. And in today's economy, you need to have something that keeps going on for a long time, hopefully for the rest of your life.
I want to debunk a myth real quick, because I hear this a lot. I'm sure you guys have heard this throughout your career. I mean, there's a lot of people, for some reason, they think they got to be at the beginning of something, right? The start of a company, or, a new idea, or, in the first year. And here you guys, right? You made a decision late in your career, right? Having that perspective to join a company that's been around for 2 decades. And in the last 2 years have been a big part of a huge growth story on a legacy company. So here's my question, right? For everybody out there that maybe has a goal to create new energy, new momentum, new culture in an existing company or existing culture. How are you guys doing it? How are you creating new energy in what was an older existing culture? I would love insight there.
When we first got in here, we used the word launch. We're launching. I don't care if the company's been around 50 years. We are launching. Yeah. And the other thing we did when we go on a tour, we call it wake up call. So I like those two different things, because it really does. It makes people aware. It opens their eyes up. Yeah. They see like, this company, you're launching, but it's been around. Yeah, no one knows about it.
Yeah. Nobody knows our industry. We are confident that there couldn't be a better time
absolutely
to be starting this type of business. Now, I'm not going to say that I knew that 26 months ago when we started, but now I am really confident, because of the economic situation we're in, that we have to teach the power of the compound effect or duplication. Yes. And nobody has been taught this their whole life. They've actually pushed us, pushed people away. I've got, with 36 years in the industry, one thing that I find now is it's like when we homeschooled our kids, everybody thought we were crazy, but now people think it's normal to homeschool your kids. It's actually great. It's a blessing if you could. Yeah. Okay. It's almost this exact same timing for this industry that it's blowing my mind. What I mean is that for about 3 decades, people would say, I'm going to stick with my job, my 401k, my boss, everything I have. You guys are crazy to do that because we've got everything made here. Our company is keeping up with the cost of living, everything. Well, now that everything has changed, and everyone cannot keep up with their own sweat equity. What I mean is, if you're a doctor, your own sweat equity. Me and her, flight attendant, at the time after I retired from being a skier, I was a sales rep. As long as we were showing up for work, we got paid only for our own effort. You can't keep up with the cost of the cars that are being produced today. They're 3 times what they were a few years ago. Cost of going out to dinner, cost of groceries. You have to understand the power of duplication, which is a teaching point that you could be teaching these people. You wonder why you don't have the extra funds that you need or the free time, is because you are putting in all the sweat equity. So now the people are waking up. Now, I do have an issue with people that say, oh, that person was in network marketing, they're lucky. Now, wait a minute. You can't have it both ways. You call this out for 3 decades saying, I would never, ever do that. You're not going to have any friends. You won't know nothing. And all of a sudden you're saying, oh, you guys have all the friends, everything. So maybe you want to wake up and say, this was the way to be going, and it is the moment right now, and people are waking up. Now, some of them still want to stay in that denial, but others are waking up saying, hey, maybe I didn't learn those skill sets. They're not that hard. We actually learned them in our career as a flight attendant and having my own training center. We had to have people skills. We had to promote. Same exact things that you need to do here. A lot of people already have that if they just brought that over to the table like we did, but people are waking up to the fact. But don't call anybody that's been in networking lucky when we know what they were called for the last 3 to 4 decades. Am I right?
I love it. You're fired up. I want to go deeper there because you're really touching on the power of now and kind of what's happening in the world. But I love your guys' story because there's so many people, and I know a lot of our listeners they think that in order to create a new energy, they got to go find something new or get lost in the shiny object game. And I love your language because you're saying, no, you can have a legacy company. It's not about the company and what's around you. It's about your energy, your language, right? What you're transferring, your belief. And you guys are doing it, right? And you can totally reinvent not only your business, but the very company that you're a part of with a decision. So thank you guys for being that example. Steve, Angie, let's go deeper where you were going. So kind of shifts in the world right now. There's a lot, right? Shifts in the channel, right? As an industry of direct selling across the world, there's a lot. And you guys have the perspective of now 36 years at extreme success and what it takes to get there. What else are you seeing? What other shifts are you seeing now, right? And then now with your team, how are you navigating the group? It might be a belief shift. It might be a timing shift. It might be a tactic shift or a skill set shift. What are you seeing, and really what message are you driving into the community that's creating the momentum you're seeing today?
I really feel like we have fire. Fire is really important when you are in your business. It doesn't matter, for those of you who are listening, if you've been in your industry for 20 years or you've been in for 2 years or 1 month, you got to have the fire. When people see the fire in you, and you don't be weird fire, be your normal fire, but step it up a little bit. Yeah. And I remember that on the airplane. When you walk onto the airplane and someone says, welcome aboard Delta Airlines. I mean, you're like, oh, okay, well, she's excited. No, welcome aboard Delta Airlines. Do you know where your seat is? It's just a different way and you say it. And I think that if people are meeting people or contacting people or even following up with people that they've already prospected, they got to put a little bit of fire in it. Or they say, you know what? Hey, I'm really sorry. I called you. But listen, I got to tell you something. I was completely wrong. This is bigger than I thought. Yeah. Shift it like that. You can do so many things in your industry to create that fire and that energy, because that's really, people all want more. They just are unaware that this industry can give it to them.
So Gina, let's go deeper there because you guys have the fire. We can see it. We can feel it. Obviously, you're transferring it. But if I'm someone listening right now, and let's say in my mind, it's like, I think I can have the fire. I really want the fire. I see you guys have the fire. How do I find my fire? Right? What coaching or what advice would you give to someone that wants to have it, that sees the importance of it, but maybe is struggling in the season they're in right now to find their own fire to transfer to others? What advice do you give?
I would tell them to start reading, because your mindset is completely, like we do a book of the month with our team. Yeah. Sometimes it could be a little bit more of a religious book. Sometimes it's not. Maybe it's just completely principles on how to build and how to find quality people or how to shift their mind. So I believe reading is really, or even listening to podcasts. I mean, you can catch fire from any of that. And a lot of people are going from A to B, whether it's home to work or work to home, or whether it's out to do a presentation, whatever it is. Those podcasts, man, and even music can fire you up, right?
And I believe this is why our team is rocking what we're doing, is because we do have quality events that people can attend. Mm-hmm. And, when you have this cheap little $15, $30 event, you don't really have to invest to fly in to get there to experience. Now, believe me, we deliver. We deliver on these events. But they have to invest to come there. And if you're not willing to do that, that's where the fire happens. I mean, when you come to these events, absolutely. We've been doing this for 36 years, going to events. So we know that when you come to one of these, you will get it inside you. You start getting in your eyes. It's almost like you walk out and somebody says, sign me up. And you don't even know, you didn't even say anything because they see it in your eyes. It's like a whole different, it's like an unfair playing field when you go to one of these events.
Steve, how often are you guys doing events? Like in an annual calendar, how many times are you in person? How many times are you virtual? What's kind of an average event flow look like for you guys?
Well, we believe after what we've seen in the last 26 months, they used to have them every quarter. And I hate when people say, I spent all this money, didn't make money. So we don't like to waste anybody's money. We're having success with one annual big event with everybody.
Live, everyone's there.
In fact, the company's grown $200 million 2 years in a row because of the two events we do. We one virtual and one in person. So the virtual, we kick off early in the year. We like to kick off like the second week of January to get everybody out of the blocks quickly. And then we have an event in the summer. And then the power to the event, and some people miss this, so I don't want anyone to miss it, is if we believe this is the most important thing for me of the whole success in your business is attending these events, you can't attend them alone. So a lot of people think that these are like some kind of motivation events that they're going to motivate you. No, they really are for you, a training for your team to take and build and go and build their business so that you're duplicating your efforts. If you don't have anyone there, then you're still kind of like your career or job. You're the only one working. You've got to get people in the seats learning how to build this business so that now the duplication effect is happening in your company.
I want to circle back to what we're seeing and experiencing real time, which is the dynamic between both of you, right? Which is rare. You're building as a couple. You have different and unique gifts. You've figured out how to, right, eloquently, play off each other's dynamic. What's been your secret? And more specifically, like, what advice do you have for those that are building as a couple, right, in their business right now? Would love insight.
The hardest thing for me is to start a conversation. Now that's Gina. She loves start. She can call anybody on a phone, meet anybody. She'll go to the grocery store, meet 10 people. I'll go to the same store. I see nobody, right? So it's two different personalities. But I will say, you at least got to open up your mouth. And she went back to that encouragement. She loves to encourage not only myself, but anyone on the team. It's never like call them out, because you're never going to get someone to do something by just saying, why didn't you talk to that person, or why didn't you? So we play off each other on that. But I will say, as bad as I am at starting a conversation, I stumble my way through. And a lot of times they feel sorry for me. And that's why they want to sign up, or they want to be part of it, or they see that they could do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But she's definitely got the strategy to motivate myself and to get me moving.
So I think probably the biggest thing for women is they want their husband to be a part, or they want him to be more engaged in it. And it's not difficult. I always ask the girls, what's your husband's favorite thing to do in the whole world? And she'll tell me. I said, no, that's not his favorite thing in the whole world. I said, what I do is I'll say, Steve, can you call such and such? And he's like, well, we're going to bed. I said, no, I'll be here waiting on you. I will be awake when you get in this bed, baby. You call this one person, because it's like a man. So I want him to call. Then he'll call. Then he comes to the bed and I said, oh my gosh, what about his best friend? And he calls him. Both of those men came to the meeting, and I waited up for that guy. I was ready to rock and roll. But I mean, I just say, come on. Sometimes you got to give a little reward, girls. It's not difficult. To me, it's like a no-brainer. And it because he's so, if you saw him making a call, his armpits are sweating. Yeah. He's like pacing, but he's good at it. And the more you do it, the more you get comfortable. It's like anything. It's like when you start your job, and the first day was, and I was a flight attendant, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, where are the exits? Where's the fire extinguisher if we go down? Where is this? Where's that? You get all nervous, but the more you do it, you can do things blindfolded, right? So I really believe that women need to encourage their spouses more, motivate them more, and they're going to have better results.
Well, thank you guys for being so real and so transparent and having fun with us, and Gina sharing with everybody the secret. And I know I heard you guys' personal enrollment numbers, so I know finding the motivation works. But it's real. You're just being real, and we all can relate, right? Find what moves somebody, work together, play off each other's strengths, and you guys do it beautifully. Before I go to kind of a rapid fire, I saw you guys say something about kind of a real mission vision on a personal level to kind of change the perception of network marketing. And that's a bold statement and a bold vision. And I know none of us has a foolproof answer, but where do we begin? What does that look like? Where do we start, right, when it comes to that vision for all of us?
I think it starts with us, like kind of what you were saying about how can you go into a company and start making it happen if they've been around for so many years. Bring yourself to it, be real, and start shining the light. We have a lot of friends and even relatives that looked at us back in our late 20s and early 30s that didn't see the light of this industry and what it could do for them, but now they're all in and they're saying, oh my gosh, how could I have missed it? But we stayed positive. We loved them. We don't like turn our noses up to someone that doesn't see it. They just don't quite see it at the time. And if you do that, you're never going to win them over. So you just love on the people where they're at. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm zoning in on the people that want to have success. I love Gina when she's a flight attendant, and she would teach that when the oxygen masks come down, put it on yourself first and then go help the other people. So if you're just getting started, you're going to have to work with the people that want it, love on the other people, but you can't push this on them if they're not ready. Some circumstances will probably change that they're going to need it, or they'll see it, or they're watching you. All of this entire industry that I always teach people is everybody's looking at you to see if they want to beat you, if they want to be you. So you can't be strange. You can't act weird. You got to have to just be really calm and cool. Even if you're desperate financially, you can't have that look on your face. Yeah. You're just going through the water. You're going to make it happen and have a positive attitude. But it starts a lot with all of us and staying positive. But there's no doubt that it's already happening, that this industry the perception is changing, because so many people have heard about it, done it. They haven't all had the success that they wanted yet. Mm-hmm. But if they do, like Gina said, stay in there, stay focused, make sure they're playing their role, it's going to happen for them.
And probably one of the big things is that sometimes people tell people everything they know. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, if I'm homeschooling my 4 kids, I'm working this industry, and you told me everything you know, I would go, I am too busy. Nope. I mean, I'm a flight attendant full time. I homeschool 4 kids. Nope, that's too much. So you kind of got to pull back a little bit. What is the most important thing you can share about your business? But sometimes, we try to tell someone everything. I call it vomiting on them. Don't vomit on them. Just kind of plant the seed. Let them ask a little more. Let them ask a question. Maybe you don't talk so much. Maybe share it and then listen.
I want to be mindful of your guys' time, and I want to leave a moment for any closing thoughts that you guys have on kind of your mind or your heart. But before we go there, can we do like a rapid fire? Can I ask you guys 3 questions? There's similar questions I've asked most of the guests, and just like the first, word or few words that come to your mind. Is that okay?
Yep. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. The premise of the show, beyond shift in the world and shift in our channel, it really is around how a single belief shift, right? A single perspective shift or a mindset shift really can change everything. And you've given us, through your stories and through your examples in this conversation, a ton of amazing perspective shifts that I know every listener can bring. But I want to ask you kind of directly, when it comes to let's start with your professional life. Okay, so business and your career. If you were to narrow down to like the single most important perspective shift, belief shift, you went from thinking one thing to thinking something else that has helped you get to where you are professionally, what would that shift be? Whoever wants to go first.
I looked at people that were down the road 30 years doing what I was doing. They're still doing the exact same thing, sitting in the boat, teaching students, and I wanted to travel the world. And I do challenge people on that. You got to look at someone down the road and say, where am I going to be in 30 years? If you're at the bank, there's someone there at the bank. You can't be the only realtor that's going to say, I'm going to get a deal that I'm not going to have to be here anymore. It's like, hey.
So you're saying that I looked at the flight attendants and they were getting bigger and older. And I thought, oh, goodness, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, that's the word. When I was done and I couldn't compete, couldn't do anything more, I said I had to go get a job. As soon as I got in that job, I said to myself, I got to get out of here. And that is why I got serious about this business.
I love it. It's real. So second question is the same question, but in your personal life. So outside of business, outside of everything we're talking about, just you as people and who you are today. What's been one of the most significant belief shifts that's led you to being who you are and how you show up here?
I say my wife and my kids, I want to do the best for them. And now my grandkids, we got 7 grandkids. So I want to be able to be an example because they're watching us. And they're counting on us. So I want to deliver. And that's my biggest motivator to build this business.
Absolutely. So I'd probably say mine is accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
That was my shift.
I love it. Beautiful on both points. And the last one, kind of a visionary question, right? So what I love about the DSN platform is this conversation really does have a chance at going out through the entire channel, right? All the executives, all the companies, all the field leadership through the whole platform. And often I just think about the power of all of us, all of the distributor, the field, right? The promoters, all the different consultants, every term we call ourselves all around the world, right? The power if all of us were like united in a single direction. Doesn't matter the company, the brand, the product, the service, but just representing what our amazing channel stands for. So my question for you, let's pretend you had that superpower to snap your fingers right now and give every single distributor in every single company across the world a single belief shift. What gift would you give them?
I think you got to have unity. If you have unity in your team and your organization, there's no jealousy. Everybody's on the, giving it all they got. I always say, if you love what you're doing, then get up and go balls to the walls. Yeah. You got to get it done. You got to get focused. You got to get laser focused and not be jealousy, be humble. And, but unity is a key word. If you got unity in your team and your organization, man, you can take this industry to the sky, change thousands of lives.
I love the word she said too. You can't be jealous. When you're a competitor like I was, and Gina is a competitor,
you think?
you don't look at someone that's winning in your business, like a cross-line person, and you want to be jealous. It'll never get you where you want to go.
Never.
You got to say, hey, that's motivation for me
if they can
to move on. If they could do it, we could do it. Use that as the momentum, their momentum, you can draft off that. So don't ever be jealous to make that. But if I was going to give a shift to anyone, I would have to say, I haven't shown this opportunity in any business I've been in the whole entire time I've been in my career, that someone didn't want the end result of what this has to deliver. The only thing that has held anyone back is the belief in themselves. I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't want our lifestyle. It's their belief in themselves. So if I could give them belief in themselves, that's what I would do.
You just gave me chills, Steve. That was powerful. Well, you guys, this has been so amazing, and I want to leave time for any other closing thoughts you have, but we've gotten so much from our conversation. I think everybody, are we willing to take 1,000 falls to get to the one skill that's going to make a difference, right? Are we willing to find our fire, whether that means getting in proximity of events or culture or community or positivity, but find our fire so we can transfer it like the two of you are doing for us here today to those that are following us? Can we get a new level of relationship with our significant other, our spouse, or our existing community, right? To put each other in our gift zones and play off each other. You guys are an amazing example. And the shifts that you just gave, right? I know anybody in their journey at any point is going to get value from today's conversation. Is there anything left that you guys want to close out with on your mind or your heart before we round out?
I would say that this industry is about to explode.
Yeah.
It's a must have for anyone that wants to have, now we see all these social media people having this lifestyle. So it's bringing it to attention that people do have a lot more adventure in their lives than most other people. So by if you don't have an opportunity for that the average person can duplicate themselves to the point of having freedom, this is the only thing I've seen. There's nothing else out there that I've seen like it. And it's shifting. People's mindset are.
Absolutely.
So now is the moment. You've got this window of opportunity. Don't let this pass you by to get involved and get serious about understanding how a system works. Understand that we're building teams of people. It's not just about selling something. You're helping other people win and succeed in their career. And then, isn't it incredible how the only way for you to win is to help other people win and succeed? I love that factor of this business and the emotion that you get if you're in whatever service you have or whatever wellness product. First, you get that emotion about the person's getting a unique testimony, but then you get this incredible feeling of emotion when you help change families financially, their families financially, because that's just brings you to tears. So I'm confident that this is only going to get bigger, and you want to get started now and get serious about where you're going with your business.
Absolutely. The time is now. This is not a better time, even though it's like everyone goes, it's Thanksgiving. No, this is the best time to build. So whatever you're in, just pick yourself up. Come on, you got this. Yep. We believe in you. If you're struggling with belief, get yourself into some books, some good music, listening to some good talks as you're traveling A to B, and keep the fire, have fun, keep it simple, be duplicatable. And I'm telling you, you're going to crush it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys, today has been fun. Today has been insightful. Today has been empowering. Today, you have given all of us the gift of sharing your fire. And I know everybody that took the time to listen to this, you guys got the value and you got something in today's conversation to move you forward as a person, as a leader, to move your team and your community forward. And for all of us to unite, as Gina said, and really go shift, right, the conversation around the world about what we're all bringing, right, to individuals. As Steve said, the time is now. And the only reason we're all here is to add value. And the only way we know we're adding value is by what you do with it. So take the action, drop by the show, leave us a rating, leave a review. You can find this episode, shiftpodcast.com, all your favorite platforms, and share this with someone on your heart that's alongside you on this journey. And Steve and Gina, congratulations on everything you guys have done, everything you are doing. You are a perfect example of what is possible. You do have that end result that everybody wants. And I know today you gave us the gift of sharing and building that belief, right, in every one of our listeners today. So thank you, congratulations. And for all the listeners out there, share this with the world. The shift is a gift, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody.